Hey guys and girls, welcome back to Greatest Good Tarot. I hope you're doing well, keeping out of mischief and all that jazz. Right, first off, there's been a complaint. Well, I don't think it... Well, yeah, it's like... You decide. I'm in two minds. I've been asked several people, and I think Nippy was one as well, off the top of my head, or the most recent I've read. Where are you? Who said... first off, so pleased you're back. Thank you. That's very, and there's been lots of messages like that, and it's very lovely, and it's rubbing my ego immensely. I very much approve of the sucking up. So thank you very much indeed to everybody who said that. That's very, very kind of you. I've missed you guys too a little. Well, most of you. The odd one, I don't know. You can decide amongst yourselves which one I do. But they were asking, can I confirm what cards I'm using for the reading and all that jazz? I'll quickly do it now. They said every video, but it's like, oh, it'll be here forever. These ones here, my favourite babies. These are the 5-cent tarot. You can get them on Etsy. I will eventually put a page on the website. I just haven't got around to it. It's just so much, stuff. I'm afraid to say stuff is still happening over here. So these are the 5-cent tarot. They're from a chap in I want to say New Jersey. Yeah, it's America, New England, but I think it's New Jersey. Nice. These are the second edition. I still feel like they're not as good as the first edition. They don't seem to be as thick. A different card stock, but overall, they're my babies. I like them a lot. We've also got this one that keeps getting asked with these people. These are from, I believe off the top of my head, Australia, and they're quite literally called the Prediction Deck. But they're down, I think her name is Tisha. Hold on, where's the box? It's full of dust. Oh, hold on, excuse me, dust. If you don't want to know this, you can skip ahead. That's what the box looks like. Tisha Jamie's Oracles. So there you go. All right. So there's them. Then we've got the Kipper deck, which is a standard thing you can get on Amazon. All right. It's just, a couple of quid. These are obviously the Rider-Waite usual. They're just a dinky version. They come in a tin. I just like the mini version of it, right? So that's neither here nor there. These bad boys, I like the images. This is a second edition, and they're kind of a glossy card. As you can see, they kind of shine in the light. The original ones, which that I was actually given by my second mum, when I was starting to get into this, and I was explaining to her this kind of spiritual awakening after my accident, blah, blah, blah stuff, right? No, neither here nor there. But basically, she went off, fanning around in her spare bedroom, came back and gave me this box, or this obviously the second version, which is A Beginner's Guide to Tarot by Julia someone or other. You'll be able to find it on Amazon. The first edition were a red back and were actually proper cardboard, and I loved them. They were so lovely in that. Like I said, this is more of a glossy kind of card. Not as yummy, but I like the images. So, and it's kind of like reminiscent. So I've still got the original deck. It's just the fact that they were just fraying so much after ages of using them that I just kind of like, you know what, they're sentimental. I want to replace them. And I was hoping, and I was expecting exactly the same thing. And then these bad boys came along, and it was a bit, But it also comes with a book and stuff like that. So if you want to get into that, that's what they are. And these are a knockoff. Cartoon Clarity. These are a knockoff off eBay for like a tenner. And they are Panthea Oracle. And they are, I believe, the actual ones, the proper ones. You can tell the difference is because they're supposed to be kind of have kind of edging coloured. I think it's like a glittery purple. Well, in fact, like that glittery, purpley kind of imaging, like very different. I know, for example, this is missing some cards out that are in the original one, but the original ones are like 80 quid, proper ones. And I'm like, I ain't paying that. I know it's expensive cardboard, but that's ridiculous. These were a tenner. I know they're a blatant knockoff of them, but I was drawn to them. I saw them in other people's videos and I was like, what are they? And like people on our Discord server finally tracked them down and was like, they're the ones. And I was like, oh, thank you. I've got many, many other cards for many different like personal private readings. When we open them up, that's what we use them as well in there, as and when I'm drawn to them. So yeah, but eventually it was going to be planned, and it will happen eventually. We'll be all on the website. That will all be there. Hopefully we'll also do kind of reviews of them and stuff like that over here for their video review type things. But it's just getting around to it, you know what I mean? So I hope that answers. So welcome back, everybody, for the ones who just skipped ahead. But there you go. All right. So if you, if anyone asks in the comments down below, you now know the answers. Please help me out and just like, that's the prediction deck, or they're the 5-cent tarot or whatever. Or point people to this video. That'd be such a blessing. Thank you for everybody who's previously done that. There's so many comments, and there's only little old me with everything else going on. It'd really be a help. Thank you. So now that's out of the way, and thanks for asking. I do appreciate it. It's just like I get asked so often. Here is the question, and remember, this is beautiful. This is the almost identical, perfect way of making sure that your question gets answered. It's the suck up sandwich. So here we go. And this is from RB. So as always, this sounds like RB's voice. If you're not driving, close your eyes. Oh yeah, it's RB. Hello, you're right. As always, great to listen to you. Oh, thank you. Oh, you naughty minx. Oh my. I wonder, given the ownership and overseas financial monopoly... Oh, here we go. All right, Financial Times is here. Ownership and overseas financial monopoly of our gas and electricity in the UK. What the cards have to say about this commodity and foreign investment owners? Will this collapse or manifest in a different fuel for our better good? The only downside is, RB, I would love to answer this question, but you haven't done the suck-up sandwich. At this point, you would go, oh, love and sweet kisses. Oh, I love you dearly, rub of nip. It's something like that. There is, simple pleasures. But and with the 10 upvotes as well. So let's have a look at this. And remember, down below in the comment section is where you can suggest, like RB has done, and Blues and everybody else, your suggestions for readings. Oh, hello, footnote already. 10 of Swords. Okay, this is not going to look good. Down in the comments. And like you can see here with the 10 upvotes, please feel free to vote, upvote, downvote on other people's suggestions. I see that, and I know who wants to, more people are interested in that particular one and that kind of thing. Just so that I can name and shame here like this. So let's have a look at this. But this is not looking good. So, gas and electricity in the UK. I feel like the monopoly thing, foreign overseas monopoly, because that's kind of like everything's now overseas monopoly, isn't it? Kind of like the railways, everything. So yeah, for the greatest good for all concerned. Thank you. They always be appreciative. So, gas and electricity in the UK. Right. Let's have a look at this. Taking a leap of faith, new beginnings. Well, that's obviously what's happening at the moment because of, Miliband with his eco warrior shenanigans going on. Seeing it from a different point of view. Oh dear. Hasn't lasted long. The moon. Oh, okay. Three of Cups. This doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel good. The Moon for me is like discovering new ideas, concepts, possibilities, all that jazz. That feels kind of like, pure imagination, Willy Wonka style-y, yeah? However, the Hangman is like, it's basically pricing people out. And that feels a bit concerning to me. For the new boys and girls, just to not to rub it in, but just to prove that it is possible. Okay, I'm just going to prove it is possible. Everything you can see right here, the camera, the lights, everything, the laptop, blah, 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 everything in here is powered by solar panels and a battery bank down the end there. This humble abode is completely off-grid. So it can work. It does work. It is fine, but there is kind of a learning curve. There is a different way of using, keeping an eye on certain things and stuff like that. So it is possible. And personally, I would recommend the quicker you can get off grid, full stop, the better, in my humble opinion. Just as things are going, I'm just like, bring everything off grid as much as possible. Yeah. So that you're in control of much as possible. All the videos coming to you, the live streams when we finally get back to them, all that jazz, all comes via satellite technology. We have no wires, nothing coming to this humble abode, and it's just everything is just off grid. So it can work. It's just thinking of it as a different way and a different approach. Like the obvious thing is, or the easiest way to get around things like this, just for people who are interested, and then we'll move on, is normally, depending on the electricity you're on and stuff like that, to save money, I know some people put their washing machine on and the dishwasher and whatever overnight on a cheaper rate. Here, you don't do it that. You want to do it during the day, because obviously when the sun's out, especially in the summer months, I say summer months, the best months are actually spring and autumn for solar. But, the 3 months, the main months of the year, the 3 seasons, the main 3 seasons of the year for like peak solar, is to charge everything and do everything during the day. So it's instead of overnight on a cheaper rate, you want when the batteries are full, use every single kind of unit of energy that you've got to charge everything up as much as possible during the day. That then will last you during the night. It's just a different way of doing things, if you get me. Yeah. So, but I'm this 3 of Cups feels shady. And I think this is the foreign investors or the people in charge, the shareholders and all that jazz. Yeah. Kind of like enjoying the fruits of their labor kind of energy. Labor, bunny flops. But it just feels as if it's just a win-win-win for them. I'm only saying win-win-win because it's 3 of Cups. It's just like, it's easy to get the money. It's easy money. But this feels like a stalling or some form of stupidity going on over here. Leap of faith, the Fool card, but it does feel like a face palm situation here. But there's the commitment, the Lovers card, doubling down. And this is what I really want to encourage people, is that the prices are only going to continue. So any which way that you can get control back, as it were, the better. Because this, even though Hangman, it's not going well. Dodginess, that kind of thing. The Lovers card here is just doubling down. It just feels like commitment, straight. There's no choice in the matter. We're doubling down no matter what. Blah blah blah. Queen of Wands again. In every different deck keeps coming up. The Queen of Wands. King of Swords. Queen of Wands, if you're just joining us, it keeps coming on different decks that we've just covered here. Even the Dinky deck, where it feels like this is the new person, the new one in charge. But even though it's the Queen of Wands, still feels blokey, feels like a chap. And it's this new change of direction. There is a change of direction here, but I don't think it's as beneficial as we hope it will be. King of Swords feels like, I would say, international markets, that kind of legislation, what's it called? The World Trading Organization, that kind of thing. Outside forces kind of saying, no, you've agreed to this, blah, blah, blah. Which is weird because I know because it has been mentioned several times on the news, it feels like many months ago now, that since the 70s, I think it was, since the oil issues over there, before my time, but the footage I've seen, it's black and white. It's before my time, I don't care. Basically, then there's legislation on the books of the UK that the government can dictate a price for gas and electricity and oil and stuff like that. So this concept of it's the international markets that can dictate to the they've got the levers to be able to go, no, we're charging X amount per barrel, or we're charging this, that. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of energy, situation. So it feels like, I don't know if this is what they're going to do, and they're pushed back by this community of BP, Shell as examples, EDF, blah, 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 the big boys. Oh, no, you're cutting into our profits, blah, 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 that kind of energy. I don't know if that's really what we're talking about here or a different kind of solution, but it's something like that. The Knight of Swords. Rushing in again. Notice, I don't actually know what bird that is. Rushing in, it's almost like it feels like a memo from the new leader of Labour to Ed Miliband's direction, kind of going, no, mate, I know you're committed to this and all that kind of stuff, but we've got to do it a different way. We've got to approach it in a different scenario. We've got to use different technologies, that kind of stuff. Here's an idea, Ed. Why don't you connect, that was in the news once again several months ago, why don't you connect some of the hundreds of onshore and offshore wind turbines and solar projects and that kind of thing that have already been built and are being paid for because it's based on the amount they're generating, but are not actually connected to the grid. And so that power is useless and not used. Why don't you do something to do with that instead of anything else? Yeah. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. It's that kind of energy. Yeah. I'm noticing that both of those are courage as well. Both have kind of that basis there, which is interesting. 10 of Pentacles. Wow. Sharing the wealth between kind of the new Labour leader and these kind of new ways of doing things. Like I said, it feels as if, I don't know if it's the particular levers from the 1970s or it's something else, another agreement, but there's definitely something here kind of, we need to sort this going way out of control. We need to, slam the brakes a bit and work this out. How can we have the most expensive electricity and fuel in the world, compared to America and Germany. And even, Germany is, over the last couple of months in winter, that we're sponging off the other power grids, like countries around them, because they keep turning off their nuclear power and stuff like that. So it's one of those situations that, like, Denmark's power was going through or the cost of it, I think it was Denmark or Sweden, one of the two in that direction, were publicly complaining that because of that Germany was using their power in the shared grid, was putting up the prices for Sweden or Denmark or whoever was complaining. This weirdness going on, So I feel like the sharing of the wealth here is quite palpable. It's kind of slapped down over here. Sort certain things out, mate, but you're being silly at this point. Focusing on the day to day. Because I don't quite get this. I really don't get it. It's like if you sort out the day to day, then there's more money in everybody's pockets that they can then spend in shops, and more transactions with VAT on top, and you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff, and more people are employed, and it kind of like the oils the machinery and that kind of thing. I don't get how no one's worked this out yet. But what would I know? I'm not an economist like Reeves. I'm you know what I mean? It's just 7 of Wands though. People defending their ground. It is a bit of a kind of a bitch off, as it were. And that's the word that came download. It was like a bitch off. It was like, really? King of Cups. Finding that balance. Overarching energy. Underlying energy. Oh, nice. The Beyond card, one of the 4 extra cards in this deck, where, which we refer to here as the Epic Arcana, which is where your soul, your third eye, higher self, higher being are all in alignment. So it's kind of, you're in the zone, or they're in the zone, as it were, for this, finding this balance. But it's interesting that we've got this betrayal as the footnote to this reading. It's kind of, I think, specifically whoever is the new prime minister here that keeps coming up as the Queen of Wands, sees this clearly. And even like this Ed Miliband and all that is just in his own little world, his absolute muppet, it feels like here, just like completely oblivious to what he's doing, kind of thing, or what the ramifications are. Ramifications. The ramifications. I know words. But it feels like the party's over and they're pissed over here. Okay. So let me just remind myself of the question, just to make sure that we're clarifying everything here. So overseas financial monopoly of gas and electric. Well, this is definitely them over here. So this, like as we always do, this is the base foundation of the reading. So this is the current situation right now, or going into it, especially with this new leader here popping up yet again. So the outcome will be will this collapse or manifest in a different fuel for the better in the future? Yeah. So the next level here is about this commodity and the foreign investment and stuff. Right, okay, I'm just double checking. Right, I want to make sure that we're covering it. So the prediction deck is the investment, stuff like that. Is it going to work out? Is it going to be okay? So here we go. Tum. So while I'm doing this, just a reminder, if you're new here, please subscribe and ding-a-ling that bell. That'd be glorious and wonderful. And come and join the greatest good village, because it takes a village to support everybody. That is what we're doing here. If you and also thank you to everybody who likes, thummy likes all the videos. It genuinely helps out the channel so much. It's unbelievable. So just quick click and it genuinely, thank you. Thank you to everybody who does that, and hundreds of people do it every video, and it's just so kind and generous of you. Thank you so much, and it genuinely helps out. Um, the pressure's on. The water is rising. Notice it's on Ed Miliband's side. Mainstream news. Ooh. Solution to the problem. That's what we're talking about here. Royal family offering. Okay. Once again. Oh, hello. Oh, two more. Okay. I'll put those there for a second. Notice that the offering here is on the Ten of Pentacles as well. So there's this sharing, the movement of money, the kind of like capping of electricity or something, or the price. I hope it's not a capping of electricity. But it feels like it's the capping of, or pulling the levers again, like we said before. The solution to the problem does feel as if it's the actual infrastructure. It's not the building of more projects. And I feel like that's what really is. Because, like I said, as a reminder, all the contracts for all these fields of solar and wind turbines and stuff like that all state how much, or dictate how much per kilowatt or megawatt or whatever they generate. Okay, certain pence or whatever. So, like I said, there are fields of these projects that are still generating, and that the investors are still being paid, but they're not connected to the grid. And there's this stupidity going on. I think I'm right in saying that someone was saying how at current situation, it will take 10 to 15 years to connect all of the ones that have been built to the grid, because there's certain infrastructure issues that are trying to control them and stuff like that. So instead of, and that's at current levels. So if Miliband actually spent his time investing in that respect to ensure that all this stuff is happening, then you might be in a better situation. But it doesn't seem to happen that way, and everyone's getting paid for it, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's just you and me that get fobbed off again. But the pressure is on, and this is kind of be another story that it just won't go away. And I like this solution to the problem here. The royal family feels as if it's kind of pulling rank, not necessarily Charlie Boy or anyone like that. It just feels as if like, yeah, it feels like, especially with the Seven of Wands down here, kind of like this conflict, this perseverance, holding their ground, kind of like a mini Nine of Wands, kind of, the first kind of battle here. People are standing their ground and that kind of thing. This feels like pulling rank. This feels like, no, this needs to be done. We need to lubricate the machine. We need to get things moving. The cheaper the energy, the bigger the economy, which has been proven time and time and time and time and time again. It's that kind of kickstart. We've got joining forces. These are footnotes that came out in Business Tycoon. Along with the King of Swords here, solution to the problem, this feels like the partnership down the bottom here. After this conflict, it feels like an agreement is made. So from the Queen of Wands here, joining forces with the foreign investors and all that kind of stuff, coming to an agreement. Yeah, overarching energy, planned outcome. Okay, underlying energy, future time. So it's a little bit way off, unfortunately, at the moment. Oh, hello. But battleships just come out, and it's like that's kind of holding, drawing the lines, kind of like ready for this argument, this war, the Seven of Wands. Yeah. Yeah. This is pretty cool. This is looking good. It's going to take a while. This feels like 18 months, unfortunately, but this is go. There's that snowball effect once again. There's a lot of snowball domino effect, whichever metaphor you want to use, because it feels as if it feels as if the ivory tower has been crumbling in the last couple of months, especially. And it's there's nowhere to hide. Yeah, especially if you're like working people, change for working people, and there is no change. That's why it's like it's leveling out. It feels like the ivory tower is crumbled, and it's like you sort the the wag a finger kind of energy. It's that kind of holding them accountable. There's no way to hide kind of energy. Yeah. Hence the water is rising, not just for Miliband, but everybody else is involved. Where do I want to go with here now? Where do I want to... Oh, do I need the Kipper deck? I don't think I need the Kipper deck. Let's go straight to outcomes. So just to remind myself again, because of my short-term memory, it's a disability. Leave me alone. Will this collapse or manifest into a different fuel for better good? Okay. So I feel like there's not necessarily an investment. It's a better way of kind of managing what we've got so far, if you get me. It's more about by turning things online or putting things online and using levers, pulling the levers that they've actually got the powers to do, then it's like it sorts itself out a bit. Yeah. So that's all good. So will this collapse or manifest into a different fuel for better good? The greatest good for all concerned. Thank you. Always be appreciative. Right. So, Ace of Swords. Bam. Okay. Sun card. Wow. Temperance, balance. 8 of Wands, quick movement, quick change, quick... So already, yes, is going to be good. This is nice. 5 of Cups. Ooh. 3 of Wands. Oh, wow. Wow. I don't know what... This has just popped in. I wasn't even thinking about it. So another download, nudge, whatever you want to call it. For someone in particular, I don't think this is for everybody, but for someone in particular, I need to say to them, a solar panel is around about £100, £120 each. Obviously, there's makes and models and blah, blah, blah and stuff and whatnot, right? There's lots of bells and whistles and all that jazz. But it's about 100, 120 quid a month. If you buy one a month, you'll soon have the amount that you need to get completely off grid. I don't know who that's for, but there you go. All right. The 5 of Cups feels as if there's that feels like another disappointment for like the community, you and me. 3 of Wands is reviewing what's already there, obviously. Ships coming in, what's happened, what's going on, that kind of jazz. 9 of Swords, sleepless, worry, bigger bills, more stuff, blah, blah, blah. So, like, even though this is great, the top line, as you can see, is great. It's like, okay, we've screwed up. We're going to sort this out. Ace of Swords, this is what we're going to do. Here's the bullet point plan. Everyone celebrates. Even like That even feels like Martin Lewis style people are involved, and like here is the thing. All right, truth, knowledge, information, breakthrough stuff. Right, we've learned from our mistakes. This is what we're going to do. The action plan. Everyone rejoices. Huzzah! Balancing out, quick communications, quick movement, quick things happening. Blah blah blah. But then it's like, I'd. It's almost as if people aren't seeing or feeling it, or no matter what they say up here, it's still going higher. It's still getting worse. It's, that kind of energy. Burden. And then meditation. Reflecting on what to do next. Wish coming true. I need to double check the wording of this. Sorry, my short term is causing mischief this evening. Hold on, let me just find that. Will this collapse or manifest? Well, it's going to manifest first off, or it's going to be good, and then it's collapse of worry and mischief and mayhem and stupidity. I don't think it's a different fuel, though. It doesn't feel like a different fuel. It's like, because in my mind, the way I read, especially in stuff like this, I'm going through the names of different stuff, right? So hydroelectric, there's no resonance on that. Solar is like, wind, there's more of a peak there. Nuclear, it's like there's no resonance there. So it's just the same old, it's basically stuff that people can see. And this is what frustrates me personally, is that it's almost like politicians just want to do stuff that people can see as they drive around. The eyesore, or the whatever you want to, you can see they've done they've built the new shopping centre. You can see they've built a new estate on the outskirts. You can see they've built the wind turbines or the solar farm, or stuff that you can see, and it's like for right or wrong you can go, okay, they've done something. Yeah, it's got that mentality about it, instead of what's the right thing to do. It's stuff that you can't see, like the grid, the network, kind of, or the infrastructure, or the building, like kind of Rolls-Royce small nuclear thing, which I still don't. I'm just like, that I'm unsure about. I would rather have, instead of these small kind of generators all over the place, I would rather have it in one place so you know where it is. And that is after I've seen Chernobyl. As after I've seen that, like, if you haven't watched it yet, go and watch it. I'm sure you can get a free, like, 10-day or 7-day trial of Now TV in the UK. Go and watch it. It's pretty good. It's upsetting, but not. Yeah, it's not a happy-go-lucky one. This is, however, beautifully shot, beautifully executed, beautifully done. Phenomenal. There's a lot of parallels for today in the UK to then. I found a lot of metaphors, a lot of kind of like, go and watch it. A bit of homework for you, if you haven't already. Overarching energy, the magician, though, manifesting something new. It just feels as if to me, Queen of Swords, underlying. Queen of Swords is cold, harsh, cuts through. Can be a bit of a knee-jerk reactor, but overall is like to the point. Yeah? To the point. Just like says it as it is kind of energy. So the fact that we've got the Ace of Swords to the Queen of Swords is like, it's like a leveling up of intensity. Yeah. Yeah, it just feels for me that even though yes, it's the 10 of wands and this burden is being removed eventually kind of thing, and it cools down a bit, wish coming true, things happen, real stuff changes. It I don't want to say it. It's it is reminding me a little bit of scenes of Billy Elliot, Winter of Discontent kind of energy here. Um, a lot more vocal, a lot more annoyed, a lot more kind of. I'm going to use the Kipper on this one. Let's have a look here because it feels as if. Kind of. It's really kind of going a bit crazy there. It's like all these promises and wishes coming true and all that kind of stuff, kind of energy at the top here and stuff happening and movement and all that kind of stuff, and then it falls off a cliff a bit. Toil and labor, exactly. Mature man, okay. Great fortune. Yeah, they don't want to. Yeah, it's all about the money, but it's over. It's coming to an end. It's coming to an end. See, for me, what I'm getting here is several things, but I think it gets illustrated beautifully by what's happening in America this week with Trumpy Trump, where he's signed yet another executive order. He must be in the thousands at this point, bless him, where he's signed an executive order decreeing that medicine in the US cannot cost the way it is. Like, there was an example he gave, and obviously it's a friend of, like, his friend, and there's no basis to it, but his friend was visiting London is the story, and he phoned up Trump and was saying how here in the UK he paid for a medicine that he would use in America, and he only paid like $88, I think is the story, or something like that. $80, let's say, to get access to it, which shocked him. And the reason why he phoned Trumpy Trump is that because for all this time he's been spending over $1,000 per month for the same medication from the same factory, the same supplier, the same box, this kind of thing. So he basically, for the first time in history in America, they've signed like, look, you cannot overcharge anymore. You've got to, the same cost as everywhere else in the world, which I think is going to be ultimately amazing game changer. But it feels as if it's the similar energy here, is that this pushback of you're ruining the business model. Yeah. Instead of thinking of the benefits and people kind of right to the edge here, they're like, oh, but what about the fortune that we're making? And what about the profit margins and stuff like that? But that's coming to an end. Yeah. Because and I'll say this one more time, if you're new here, and then we'll end this with a bit of cartoon clarity, and then we'll get the hell out of here. But because I'm just waffling at this point. But basically, if this country was truly committed to eco-friendly electricity, they would be investing pretty much everything into hydroelectric. For example, the amount of weirs that we have in the UK on all the rivers and everything else, you could put mini hydroelectric power stations on each one, would be generating a phenomenal amount, day and night, phenomenal amount of electricity in comparison to other things. Yeah, you need that consistency, not just solar, not just wind, but you need that kind of quite literally underlying current. Just that little bit kind of that keeps on going. Or you're going to end up as a situation we just had, a couple of weeks ago in Portugal and Spain and south of France, where you just kind of have a blackout. Yeah. Power cut. Because you haven't got that underlying current. You haven't got that consistency. There's these peaks and troughs from solar and wind. And you need that kind of constant to keep the, 50 hertz. You need to keep the resonant going. So you need that kind of, and that's on 240, obviously, but it's that kind of mentality. I'm boiling it down to bare basics, but that's the kind of concept here. And that was the issue with Spain and Portugal and stuff, turning them back on because if you dip out of the hertz, the resonance, if you dip like too much down to like 30, 40 kind of down, it's going to take a hell of a lot of power to get you back up to that. Plus, you've got to think about what's been left on, stuff on, lights, that kind of thing. You have to gear it the right sort of thing. There's a lot of maths and stuff, and that's why it took forever for them to do it. But it's that kind of thing. So just simply with like nuclear and that kind of electric from the hydroelectric, then it will balance out the system. But no, everyone wants solar, or no. Solar and wind turbines, you can see them. So it looks like something's happening, But yeah, this money-making scheme is coming to an end. There's new ways of doing it. I think ultimately, I can see kind of small communities like villages and stuff kind of clubbing together as a cooperative and doing their own. That kind of thing. I think that's the way forwards. Because this like national grid mentality, I think would be ideal for industrial stuff. But I think locally, but I'm a proper hippie these days. I think we shouldn't be pulling families apart, if you get me. So like mum and dad, and then obviously, the siblings, the children of them grow up, leave home. So then all of us are like, if it's like two sisters or two brothers or whatever, in this example, you've then suddenly got 3 households, 3 sets of bills, you see what I'm saying? It's almost as if our culture has been built to create consumers. I'm getting to the point of like Pluto and like Republic, going back to that kind of thing where it's a community, which is what nunneries are based on, and what's the other one for monks? I can't remember. Monastery, yeah, that's it. They're all based upon that original like Republic concept. Small communities working together on the land, growing their own food, living, sharing the wealth, the cooperative kind of energy. Is that kind of thing. So kind of going back to the point where it's like families looking after each other kind of situation a little bit. So you've, all your bills are then 1 instead of 3 times. I think that's kind of where we're going. Instead of being all kept in boxes, we're kind of sharing the resources a bit more. Because technically, and here's a little story, just a small, just as a small example. So like my dad, me, and my brother all own the same drill, right? Admittedly, we all paid different prices for it because depending when there was a sale on Christmas and all that kind of stuff. But basically, it's like a Makita drill. It's a couple of, it's an investment. You're going to use it not consistently, but quite frequently. So it was like, well, if we're going to buy it, we're going to buy it properly kind of thing. And then we've got it. Yeah. But that's 3 drills now. 1 for each household. kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's that kind of mentality. You're buying the 3 times tea, you're 3 times coffee, 3 times kettles, 3 times. It soon kind of builds up three sofas, 3 TVs in the lounge, so on and so forth. It's amazing when you start thinking about it. It's like, actually, if you shared, each having their own area, right? But then the communal areas like the kitchen and the dining room and the lounge and all that kind of stuff, and you've got your own little snugs if need be. And if you think about it, it could work out really well. Natural disaster. Oh dear. Risks. Stop. Yeah. Which we talked about here is going to break. But there is going to be this pause, this disappointment, this kind of thing. Sweetheart's nice to see, though, because it's for the right reasons, clubbing together. What I'm kind of flapping about right now. But the blind is here, going into the unknown. Marriage, though. Oh, that's quite nice. I do like that, where it's, even though we're going, walking into the unknown, there's disaster, there's the stagnation and a pause, there's frustration, there's people kind of really suffering and that kind of stuff. But this is kind of what I'm talking about with the cooperatives and finding other solutions and taking control back and that kind of thing. Finding other ways, kind of. And which all goes back to the Pluto in Aquarius again, for the next 20 years or so, coming back to, power back to the little guy, coming, freedoms, taking control back, that kind of thing, more responsibility locally, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think I'll leave it there for now because because it feels as if it's all a situation of where they keep saying the right things and it still slaps down and people are just going to get annoyed by it. Like, so the burdens and joining forces and stuff like, yeah, I'm going to leave it there for now because this feels as if we're on the cusp of something really kind of revolutionary here. And I think the frustration of enough is enough kind of energy. But it does feel as if people are finally waking up here at the top line. But it's just not quick enough. I think that's the main thing I'm getting here, is not quick enough for people. But anyway, I'll leave this for now as bloody hell, yeah, I've waffled on way too much. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did enjoy it, please thumb me a like and enjoy the way I read here. The other buttons available. People do. I found that as well. If you're new here and you like how I read, please subscribe, ding-a-ling that bell. But until next time, where we do this crazy shenanigans all over again, take care. Look after yourself. Be well. And thank you for your company. I'll speak to you soon. See you later. Ta-ra.